supporting and promoting musicians around the globe.
Hey, Front Row Promotions coming to you live. How are you? How is everybody out there in music land? Hey. And we have Kandi back. Welcome back, Kandi. Oh my goodness, it's been like forever. My sidekick.
And there goes my camera.
How are you? And we have
doing better.
Good. And we have our guest, Lee Aaron. How are you, Lee Aaron?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, Lisa and Kandi?
Good. Good to have you here.
Yeah, it's exciting. I love all your animal print. I see it. I got a lot going on in my house.
Thank you. Yes, leopard print is my favorite color.
I didn't even know that was an actual color until now.
That's my color, yes.
Totally. Yes.
So, yes. Lee, I got to get this out of the way before we start anything. I am a huge fan. I'm a fellow Canadian, just like you. Actually was born and raised in Toronto. So I'm super stoked to be here talking to you today. And actually, I have you tomorrow on my personal podcast, so we get to talk. We get to chat twice.
So I was wondering about that when I saw the name. I was like, I think I'm talking to someone named Kandi tomorrow. But anyway, that's fantastic. You're gonna get a lot of the same answers then
for a totally different audience, and we're so excited to have you
great,
on both days too. So. Okay, so let's start off. I know the question on everybody's mind is you are releasing a brand new album in a matter of weeks. And from my understanding, it's not something that you were originally planning on doing. It's a whole covers album. Can you talk us through how, like the preparations for that and how you came to the decision to choose the songs that you did to cover? Take us through it.
Yeah, I don't know, you guys are aware I'm a mom. So I had taken a few years off recording. Yeah. Way harder job than being a rock star, let me tell you. I had taken a few years off recording when I had my kids. I did a few live shows, in that time, but for the first decade of their life. And when I came back in 2016 with Fire and Gasoline, I had assembled a new band and started writing with these guys. And I love my band. I mean, they're just the most amazing musicians, the most amazing people. And so over the last 8 years, we have recorded not only quite a few original albums, but a live album, a Christmas album. And last year when we were on the Monsters of Rock cruise and we were sitting there having dinner one night and we're like, what's our next adventure going to be? Like, what are we going to do? Because for me, it's all about moving forward constantly, like artistically. It's about challenging myself. And one of the things that came up during our dinner conversation was the fact that I had never done a covers record. A lot of artists have done covers records. And, there's it's a whole bit of a different art form interpreting other people's material. And so we just thought, what a fun idea. Let's do that. Let's do that for our next record. Not only we figured we could probably turn out a product a little quicker than writing a bunch of new material, but we just thought it would be a real fun experiment to see, what kind of songs we would pick, where it would go. And that's basically how the idea of doing a covers album came about. And then the song selection process, which you were also asking me about, we have all been very influenced by, we all sort of come from a slightly different place. Like Sean Kelly, my guitar player, really loves 80s hair metal, Dave Reimer, my bass player, he kind of loves stuff that's a little more like hard rock pop, like Cheap Trick, and he loves stuff that's super melodic. My drummer, who's also my husband, John Cody, he's sort of a fan of all genres, but he loves a lot of that, more like 60s, Laurel Canyon kind of singer-songwriter scene, the Turtles and Joni Mitchell and folk rock. And Beach Boys. He loves stuff like that, and I like a lot of old blues rock. So it kind of all comes together in this bizarre melting pot of ideas for us, and that's kind of how we ended up coming up with the material. We bounced a lot of ideas back and forth. That was kind of a loaded question you asked me, by the way, because you asked me why we did a covers record, but also how we selected the material. That's why the answer here is so long. But, and so when we were selecting the songs, there were certain tunes, not necessarily tunes, but certain artists for sure that I wanted to cover, like Heart. I wouldn't be a girl. I wouldn't be a female rocker if it wasn't for Ann and Nancy Wilson.
Yes.
Oh yeah, big hearts. Love those guys. Yeah. So for sure, I was going to do a Heart song. I wanted to do something with Fleetwood Mac, Christine McVie, and Stevie Nicks, of course, were super influential. Sounds like you got a garbage truck backing up in your driveway.
Beep.
That is super loud. Everything in this complex echoes. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. And then regarding some of the other material, the guys and I in the band, we kind of bounced a bunch of stuff back and forth, and ended up landing on the material we landed on. My husband thought, wouldn't it be fun to go back and do some real early original Alice Cooper with that real raw, visceral band. And he thought it was kind of ironic and funny to do Is It My Body when What You Do to My Body had been
exactly. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's a bit of intelligence and irony there in doing that song. And our other sort of modus operandi with this record was not to do really super popular pedestrian songs that ever, like, if you go to YouTube, there's like 500 girls singing a cover of Barracuda, right? Oh, yeah. And I love that song. The whole opening riff for Metal Queen is the Barracuda riff. If you're going to steal from the best or borrow, right? And, but kind of been there, done that. So my idea was to do a Heart song that was a little less predictable than that. And what I loved about, say, the song Even It Up, you go back, that was like 1980, and you listen to that song, you listen to those lyrics, that was like a real early feminism song about equality of the sexes, and I love that message. So anyway, that's just, gives you a little bit of an idea of what I was thinking when I put this album together.
And what was your favorite song that you did out of all the tracks that you recorded and redid? What one was your favorite? I know that's another loaded question. And it's like, you're a mom, you said it's like picking your favorite child, right?
It is, but a song that was super close to my heart was Someone Saved My Life Tonight, Elton John. That was the quintessential sort of high school slow dance song when I was a kid, and again. And I've just always loved that song because that whole album, Yellow Brick Road album, it's almost like, it's like an art piece, right? With the gatefold artwork and just everything going on, Funeral for a Friend. It's like, there's lots of orchestrated stuff. And so when I said, I really, really want to cover this tune. I want to cover Someone Saved My Life Tonight, because that song, I know what it meant to Elton, but I know it can be interpreted and have so many meanings on so many levels for so many people, because everyone has some episode or event in their life that brought them to a low point that they felt they need to be rescued from and brought out of, like a phoenix rising from the ashes. And that is, to me, what that song really represents. And it's pretty universal in its meaning. And what I also loved about it was the fact that, and in fact, I didn't quite understand this till I really got into recording it, is how essential all the supportive harmonies and the layers that come in and out. And I had to map it all out before I recorded it. So I actually had a clue what I was doing before. My bass player is also a great singer. Before he came over to record backgrounds with me, I'm like, dude, there's like a lot of moving parts in this song. We have to micromanage here. And so it was a bit of a, it's funny because the final recording just sort of sounds like, sounds, I wouldn't say simplistic, but, our approach is like acoustic guitars around a campfire. But there were like 69 tracks on that song. It was very multi-layered and very complex to put together. And so it was really an adventurous project. I loved recording that song.
That's awesome. I love it. Absolutely.
Yes.
Lisa, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yes. So you also have a new single that is coming out. Was it March 15th?
Yes.
And Tattoo. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. Well, about a decade ago, I don't know, my husband and I, we were driving somewhere and he was going through his downloaded songs, and all of a sudden this song comes on, the tattoo me. And I'm like, who is that? And, I'd never heard of the band before. He said, oh, it's this band from LA, the 77s. I'm like, that is like a super cool tune. It was so, I don't know, just the guitar riff and everything, and the lyrics of the whole idea of like, not tattoo me, but tattoo me on you. I loved the twist.
Yeah.
That is deep. I love it.
I like that. Yeah.
And I said to him, man, I loved the guitar riff. I said, Sean could do an amazing job on that. I said, if I ever do a covers record, I'm going to do that song. And of course, a decade went by and we hadn't done a full covers record. And so when the idea of doing this album came up, that song had been in the back burner of my mind for many, many years. And of course, when I presented it to Sean, he laughed because he said it sounds exactly like a Lee Aaron almost original song by the time he put his guitars on it and everything. And I'm like, yeah, like it just really resonated with me. And I love the sentiment. I mean, it's multi-layered, not only the twist of, tattoo me, but tattoo me on you. If you really love me, a testament of your love is you tattoo my name.
Oh, I love it.
But, the whole idea that really music and really unique and special songs that live in your heart forever, they're like tattoos. They are.
Absolutely, yes.
Like tattoos, right? And so I just loved that message as well.
Absolutely. I love that. So your writing process, can you tell us a little bit about what style of writing you have, and do you all collaborate as a band to do the writing?
So each of us in the band bring something to the table. Like on the original albums that we've done in the last, decade, Sean Kelly is a great writer. Dave Reimer is a great writer. I can write songs on my own. So, it's funny because I get asked this question pretty frequently, and what I can tell you is that after many, many years and writing hundreds and hundreds of songs, I still don't fully know how it all really comes together. It's a little bit of a magical process. Sometimes we've gotten together like Radio One. We got together in a room, like a rehearsal space for a weekend. And I said, bring your best ideas. And we just banged that album out. We wrote a whole bunch of songs, sort of almost like live off the floor. The lyrics weren't fully done, but I had melodies. I had walked up to the mic and I was just like, blah, blah, blah. I just sang a bunch of gibberish. And we recorded to our iPhones all these ideas we had by the end of the weekend. And I'm like, guys, we got an album here. That's how Radio One happened. With Elevate, we were unfortunately confined during COVID, so we were not able to write that way. And we bounced a lot of files back and forth. Sometimes Sean would send me a riff, and I loved the riff, and then I'd drag it into my my home studio, my Logic at home, and I'd chop it up, and I'd put the pieces together with a drum loop, and I'd go, ooh, and then now I have another verse idea or a chorus idea, and then they sort of, I don't know, like again, like it's a bit of a magical process. I'm not 100% sure. Songs like Red Dress and uh, 21, they were pretty much fully formed. I sat down at the piano and I wrote them as just piano pieces. Then I brought them to the band. And of course, then when the band adds the drum part and the guitar and layered on top and the bass, the pieces are still the same, but it takes on becomes a little bit of a whole new animal because the guys in my band are adding their elements to it, and it evolves into something more elaborate and greater. So yeah, so I'm still learning about songwriting after 40 years of being a songwriter. It's cool. It's cool. And I'm always, listening and learning, and like I'll hear something new on the radio or I'll just stumble on something on Spotify and I'll go, man, that artist is pretty cool. And I'll sit down and listen to an album and I'll go, I love how this woman did this in this breakdown part or whatever. So I don't know what to say except that I just feel like I'm always learning and growing as a songwriter. I really do.
Absolutely. And you just keep going and going, and like the Energizer Bunny Rabbit, and just keep going. But it's awesome, and then you all collaborate. I like how you work together as a team.
Totally. And, I have a lot of, contemporaries within the music industry, and I love them all. And I often tour or do festival shows with them. But a lot of them are pretty happy to just keep playing the same album from 1985, right? And artistically, that I don't find that all that satisfying for me. It's not as though I'm pumping out albums that are just gangbusters and selling a ton, because that whole physical world of sales doesn't exist anymore. You guys are aware of that, right?
Yes.
But artistically, it's fun for me. And I really do have like a real core group of ardent fans that are always going to buy a vinyl, always going to buy a CD because they love physical products still. And that's kind of who I do it for me, and I do it for them because it's just still fun, and I'm still getting a lot of joy out of still creating. And when it stops becoming fun, maybe I won't do it anymore, but it's still just so much fun, right?
If it stops becoming fun, you're working too damn hard, man.
Yeah. I will always love vinyls. I mean, it's always, of course, the digital stuff is there, but I'm old school. I love the vinyl. I love the cassette tape. A CD came along. Okay, I accepted it. But I just love the vinyl. I love going to the store, opening up, couldn't wait for the new album to come out.
Yeah.
Open them up and you smell that album and it's like, oh, nice and fresh, and yeah, and then putting it on your stereo.
What I love about it too is like the newer artists, Lee, that come out. Like I'm talking within a year, 2 years, 3 years, and they're producing vinyls. And to hear like, a Spotify version, let's say, and then to put that vinyl on your turntable and listen to the raw, scratchy sound of it, I just love that.
I do too. It's amazing. Yeah. It's just,
there's something really, really warm, the warmth of vinyl, and like you said, that whole little bit of you hear that magical sound of the needle actually dropping and going and hitting hitting the vinyl. There's still like I get excited when I hear that, right? It's like
absolutely.
And interestingly enough, I have an 18-year-old son, just turned 18 in January, and he loves vinyl. Like his vinyl collection's getting bigger and bigger. He's kind of addicted, and and the same thing. It's not just about the sound of the vinyl. It's about having that big piece of like a book where you can see the artwork and you can read the liner notes and things that you can't really do when you're streaming, right?
Right.
And there's something to be said still for that. I really believe that too, for sure.
Awesome. Yeah. So we're almost running out of time. I know we don't have you for very long.
We got a board today. Filling up. You want to read some of the board?
Before I do, I just kind of want to ask fun question. Since we're here on a live video interview, Lee, girl, you got to tell me some of your beauty tips and secrets because you do not look a day over 25. Come on, what do you got?
Beautiful. You are so beautiful. Show her some love, Kandi. Come on.
Aw, you guys are super sweet. You guys are super sweet. You guys look amazing too. What are you talking about?
Why,
Girl power, baby.
That's right. That's right. Mhm.
Honestly, I'm going to be real honest with you. I think having a youthful spirit, just staying a real fan of music, like and being excited by music. I think I don't know. I think being excited about life in general and still being able to find joy is a real beauty tip, honestly. But I don't do like, I'm not into like go and kill myself at the gym. I'm so honestly, truthfully, I'm pretty lazy. I'm not like one of these workout queens, but what I did, I always have had a treadmill at my house. My husband and I have dogs, and actually, the sad news is I had to put one of my dogs down yesterday.
Aww.
Our 15-year-old golden retriever.
Oh.
We'd had her 15 years. She was a beautiful dog, but we've always had dogs, so we always have walked our dogs, like gone big, huge, long hikes and walks with our dogs. Again, like I say, I'm lazy. I'm like, find a good Netflix show, and then I have a treadmill with an iPad stand, and
there you go. That's perfect.
Series, then I'm into the series and I forget that I'm actually jogging or walking, right? I do some strength training yoga just so I don't get, I don't have any problem with mobility or anything like that. And, I think really just stay moving and try not to eat too much crap, right?
That's right.
When you're on the road, it's almost impossible to not be, walking into a Tim Hortons every day, right?
I love that. Tim Hortons, that's a Canadian staple.
Oh, man. Well, and like you're driving around in Northern Ontario and it's like, what's the best thing? Well, there's a Tim Hortons, almost impossible to eat good on the road. So, I'm guilty of eating crap. Of course I am. We all are, and I mean, I'm fortunate in that I guess I don't really have I kind of have an addictive personality maybe for music, but, I try not to do anything too bad for my body, and of course, as we are getting older, and especially
what you do to your body.
Yeah. Well, after you become a parent, it's like you learn that having a hangover the next day, it just ain't worth it.
No.
To do some of this adulting stuff, And
Absolutely.
So, like I try to just, not abuse myself. So really these aren't really, enlightening tips. These are just like really normal life things we really kind of all should be to take care of ourselves, right?
Yeah, for sure. No, I love that.
Me too.
Okay, so Lisa, you said you wanted to go to the board.
Yes.
Let's start right from the top here. Chris P is tuned in. Fellow Canadian says hey to you, Lee.
I know Chris P.
Do you?
Oh, I do. He's amazing. It's lovely, over the years when you actually get to really know fans that are, staples. They come to shows. Chris P and another friend of mine, Grace, were at our Canada's Walk of Fame induction last year. They were screaming at us from the balcony, and it just warmed my heart. It warmed my heart to know that you have people supporting you that love your music. And so what's Chris P what's he chiming in on today?
He's got a lot to say. Yeah, like pretty much everything that you've said thus far. He's commenting on it all. He's really shown his support. He says he's really excited to hear the new album. I'm not sure what this comment means. He says, not only a great band, but truly the greatest people. Maybe he's referring to your band. If he knows you well, he probably refers to your band.
He knows us all. He's hung out back. We've hung in hotel rooms with Chris P.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's amazing.
We have another gentleman tuned in, Brad Metz. He says, hoping this isn't your last album. If this does well, will there be another covers record? #1 USA fan, looking forward to the new covers album.
So yeah, good question, Brad. No, it's not our last album. Absolutely not. Um, will it be our one and only covers record? I don't really know. I know that what we have in the works is coming up. What we have planned is an ultimate Aaron collection. Now, exactly how that's going to be presented, I'm not sure yet. Whether I'm going to partner with the label in Canada that owns the rights to all my old material, or whether we'll do Taylor's version of some of my old material. That is sort of up in the air. We're discussing it as a band, how we want to present a best of collection. I know that I have 4 fully done and mixed tracks from Elevate, which are not released yet, and they are probably going to land on that album as bonus tracks. I still have Live at the El Macombo sitting on a hard drive at my house, which is...
And that was a recent show too, wasn't it?
About 2 summers ago.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't mix it and pump it out right away is a couple of other bands, Canadian bands, did exactly the same thing recently. I didn't feel an urgency to have to get it out there. I wanted to record it. I haven't forgotten about it. Some people, just in case fans are wondering. So that is slated for sometime in the near future as well. And the guys in the band and I already have a whole bunch of ideas for another original album. And who knows what's coming after that. So there are at least plans for 3 new albums coming up in the next few years. I have a book that I'm working on.
Wow.
I'm in talks. I don't want to make any false promises here, but I'm in talks with a documentary filmmaker right now about the idea of putting together a Aaron documentary about just the history of one of the first Canadian women doing rock, like hard rock in Canada, and how unseriously I was taken in the beginning. I was treated a little bit like a novelty and a joke. But of course, 42 years later, I got a star on the Walk of Fame. Like, people in hindsight looked back and went, wow, she had a lot of obstacles to climb over in the beginning of her career. And maybe that deserves a bit of respect. And that was really such a huge honor.
Absolutely.
And just sort of the evolution of that and how that took place. So I'm talking to a documentary filmmaker. So yeah, like we got quite a few things in the works. I have something coming up this month. There is a wonderful female singer-songwriter artist from Switzerland. Her name is Serena Telly. I don't know if you know her.
Yes, I know. Yes, we talked to her. Yes, she is amazing as well.
Serena's amazing. She's got an amazing voice. She used to be the lead singer for Burning Witches.
Yes.
She left Burning Witches, and I love what, she's kind of stepped away from that kind of like stock traditional heavy metal kind of thing that just like head to toe leather studs, and she's doing something that is more melodic. It's still hard rock, but more melodic, more colorful. Obviously, she's a very colorful person.
Yes.
More broad audience friendly. And I love that. And I really respect that. And her and I have just done an acoustic duet together.
Nice.
In fact, they sent me the tracks this morning, and I believe that's coming out this month or next month. It might be this week, actually, the end of this week, the same time our single hits as well. So yeah, that's exciting. Ultimate respect. It's nice for me to, work with and support, younger up and coming female artists that are doing things that are similar to me. And and she, I guess she got a #1 or #2 album in Switzerland right now. She's really gifted, and I have a lot of respect for her. So that's coming up as well.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
We love that.
Now, really quickly before we read this question here, do you have any interviews right after this?
Not between 11:30 and 12. I know my press rep, Nathan Burke, tries to book half-hour blocks. So yeah, I still have 5 more minutes. We can.
Yeah. Okay. Because we wanted to get to this question.
Thank you.
And then sort of close things off. Guys, if you're tuned in here to Front Row Promotions, again, we thank you so much for joining us. We are joined by Lee Aaron, of course. If you haven't already noticed, this beauty that is gracing us here today.
Beautiful.
I'm sorry, we probably won't be able to get to the rest of the questions, but to all of you that have commented, tuned in, and showed your support, we really appreciate that. But this question I really wanted to get to before you go back off your lunch break, Dustin. Dustin McDaniels tuned in. He says, this is an honor. Been a Lee Aaron fan for many years, but he has a question. Lee, if you had the right offer, would you consider doing a U.S. tour?
Of course, but you know, I have a couple things to say about that, because it's funny. My manager just called me today with an offer to do a Quebec City show, because I don't often play Francophone Canada as either, but the offers, you know, it's okay. It's not. So it's really a matter of, because touring has become almost prohibitively expensive post-COVID. Not only do we have inflation with hotels are through the stratosphere, gas prices, flight prices. You know, it's really a matter of it is the right offer. The course of my career in the past, back in my heyday, I was kind of tied into a Canadian record deal that prohibited me from getting a proper US release. So my popularity and notoriety in the US is largely a cult following. So yes, it would have to be the right offer. Obviously, because I get offers all the time to do things, but I'm like, can I afford to go do this and lose money? Is the posterity and the reach that I'm going to reach with an audience worth what I'm balancing that against? So right. Yes, of course. And can you tell us any more info about that European date? Bought tickets yesterday, so I'll be there. So yeah, I can tell you more. So I'm coming to Switzerland in November. I'm working. I'm the final band, like a headlining band, on with a few other bands that evening. It is a fairly short set for Lee Aaron. It's about 45 minutes, but we'll be doing a little segment of our biggest hits, about 5 of our biggest hits. We'll be doing about 5 tracks from Metal Queen, because it is the 40th anniversary of Metal Queen.
I love that song.
The agenda with this show and the promoters of this show, they're trying to make it a little bit like Montreux Jazz Festival. So I am going to join, and a few other notable artists are going to join me on stage for the grand finale of this show. And we haven't decided the exact songs yet, but we're going to be together performing almost like a jam of some covers and some various other songs. And it's going to be this grand finale of us working together. It's going to be a really, really special event. That is what I can tell you. And it's going to be really fun. And so I will be on stage for at least an hour. So it is worth buying. It's going to be a one-time event, very special event. It's worth coming to. It's going to be really cool.
Awesome.
Sounds great. As sort of a personal question, for talking about touring and stuff, any chance you'll come back to Toronto in the near future?
I will be in Mississauga on May 24th. So I'm coming back. I'm part of the Classic Bowl series. I love doing these shows because we love the promoter. There's a gentleman named Ed Souza that puts these on. And not only does he always create these wonderful multi-band, great rock and roll events, but a huge part of the proceeds go to Ronald McDonald House, which is a wonderful charity.
Oh, lovely.
Yes. I'm so on board with this. So May 24th, I will be in the Toronto area at Classic with Streetheart and Honeymoon Suite. It's going to be super fun.
Honeymoon Suite.
That's an amazing lineup.
I'm excited. Well, and I'm sure you'll see me back sometime within the next year. I know there's plans to come back and do the big casino, Aurelia. What's it? Casino-Rama, and possibly a El Macombo show. So
What a legendary place that is. That's like the Whiskey A Go-Go of Toronto.
Totally.
Really. All the legends
Oh
that play
my
there.
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
that's so
amazing.
cool.
How about the rock pile? Like that's another staple in Toronto, and everybody that I know goes there. The rock pile.
Yeah, we haven't done the rock pile in a while. It's not off the table, but it's sort of a matter of, you know, I really come and do Toronto maybe once a year. It's a matter of not wanting to, tap your market out, right? So
Right. Yeah, of course.
I wouldn't come and do more than one or two Toronto area shows a year. Because if I come and do the Elma Combo and then I do Casino Rama and then I come and do the Rock Pile, most of these people have already seen me in the last 6 months. And, you don't want anyone's sales to be impacted by the fact that you're playing too much in one market. Does that make
Sure.
sense?
Oh yeah, definitely.
That I have to put on my agent hat and think about that.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure. No, I
so-
gotcha.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, these are landmark places that I've been to several times. Like I said, I live in Oshawa, so just east of Toronto.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So
Oh.
just curious and all that. Yeah. What's up?
My agent, I don't know when because I don't have an exact date, but he's been talking to me about the Pickering Casino there.
Ooh. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's
Yeah, so there's another
facility.
casino.
Yeah.
And these days, largely across Canada, I do festivals and casino shows. Casinos have state-of-the-art production. They're always fantastic shows. And festivals, I don't really go across Canada doing smaller venues like clubs anymore.
Right.
I think you kind of get to a point in your career. I've been doing this for over 40 years. There's a bit of a burnout factor when you're doing, like, say,
Clubs.
30 dates of smaller venues across Canada. And while it's fun for fans to see you in an intimate venue, and I get that, but there's a bit of a burnout factor to doing that.
Sure. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You're, and I'm like, you're so up for that when you're 25, but you're maybe not
Yeah,
so up
for
for
sure.
that when you're over 50, right? So, and I mean,
Did you say you're not a day over 25? That's what you're talking
No,
about.
not at all. I mean, you are
You guys are so
gorgeous.
sweet.
Yes.
Alrighty. Well, let's end it off here in a couple minutes, and of course, we'll dive into more action tomorrow because I will see you tomorrow. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. But before we end things off here, please, for our audience and for everybody tuned in today, can you plug all your socials and your website? Where can everybody find out more about you and what you've got going on?
So yeah, leeaaron.com is my website. I know a lot of young people don't go to old school websites anymore, but that is, like, honestly, the most comprehensive place to find out about me, leeaaron.com. From there, you can click on any of my socials buttons. If you don't want to do that, you go to Instagram to leeaaron.music. So that's leeaaron.music on Instagram, leeaaron music on Facebook, and Lee Aaron, I believe it's Lee Aaron Music on Twitter as well. I'm not a big Twitter person so much these days. I found that Twitter tends to be more of a place for people to kind of spout off about things. But for more music information, Instagram or Facebook are always places to go for me. Again, leeaaron.music or Lee Aaron Music on both of those platforms are the best places to find out what's going on with me. Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So for everyone watching, again, thank you for tuning in. Visit Lee Aaron on all her socials and, of course, her website that she just mentioned. Show her all your love and support. We thank you so much for joining us. And, of course, we have to thank Lee Aaron for joining us as well. This has been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. And you're always welcome to come back. We want you back.
That would be amazing. I
And
can't
hey,
wait.
listen, I'm just putting this out there. You're a Canadian girl. Next time you're up here and you got some time, I have my own studio here. So come on by and we'll do an in-person interview. What do you think?
In Oshawa. Yeah,
Sure.
sure.
That's amazing. That's
Well,
super
you know what?
cool.
When I play, and if it's this year, the Pickering Casino, we should connect and try to do that because then I'll be at least somewhere in the vicinity.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know, the east end of Toronto. So I can, popping into Oshawa would be easy at that point.
That's
Awesome.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
super cool.
Awesome. All right, Lisa, over to you. We're
All
gonna end things
right.
off. Lee, I'll see you tomorrow.
All
Bye,
right.
Kandi. Hi.
Thank you again for coming to Front Row Promotions, Lee. And always, you can promote anything you would like on our page on Front Row Promotions, and just throw it on there, and we'll throw it out there.
That's me. Well, maybe I should post the new video this coming Friday.
Absolutely.
The new single drops Friday.
Yes.
It's called Tattoo from Tattoo Me.
I can't wait to hear it.
Well, it's such a cool video. We did it with, it was directed by a guy named Frank Greiner in Toronto. He's an amazing digital wizard. And basically the song has me have it with tattoos moving all over my body. So it's pretty cool.
So cool. I can't wait. I'm excited. Yes.
Anyway, take care, guys. It was so great talking. And let's reconnect in the very near future. And
Absolutely.
It was great speaking to you.
All right. Thank you all for coming. This has been Front Row Promotions. We love you. And always support that live local music in the making, music everywhere. Front Row Promotions. Bye now.
Bye, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Front Row Promotions, supporting and promoting musicians around the globe.